Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video, I'm going to talk about the geometry of our evolution. Right? So this is going to be a bit of a raw video because I'm still working on this, but I just was excited about it. I wanted to share it with you. Right? So first I'm going to show you what really excited me about this, and it's this evolution here. Right? So you see that we start with a circle, and then we go to two circles overlapping, which you can see a Vesica Pisces in the middle of the overlapping period, and then we see the triquetra with the three rings, which create three Vesica Pisces in there, and then then we add circles until we get to the seed of life. Okay, now what excited me about that is we quite often use the seed of life, of course, which is obviously the end result of that evolution. And we use the seed of life, which is that kind of lotus geometry, in regards to the tool, the Ascendant. And the tool, the Ascendant, that we make is a tool that connects you to what we call your soul family, right? Because the way that we see your infinite consciousness, right? Your soul is a unique energy signature that splices itself so it can be facilitated and expanded through a multitude of realities or universes. And then why it does that? Because it wants to have experience, to convert that experience into wisdom that allows it to expand as a consciousness. Okay, and that's why we're here. Okay, we are really here to be a representation of what we authentically are, which is consciousness, not really the human. The human is kind of identity that's been given to us through our physicality and to more of the body, right? But the body is not us. The body has a role for us to be here to have an experience. But when the body expires, we keep going, right? So the body was never us. Again, it's an understanding of who we are, authentically are, and why we're here, and also how we create the fabric of reality, right? So this is what I call the Ascension Map, right? Which is a depiction of ourselves as infinite consciousness, not collective ourselves. And it's obviously depicted in the form of a tree, right? And this is the reality that we're in, but there are other realities that variants or versions of ourselves live out a life, creating experience to hopefully convert that experience into wisdom. And why we can say it's us, because we all share the same energy signature, right? While everyone that lives in this reality, right, forging their own path, we all have different unique energy signature, okay? There's no one like you, okay? And that's a very important statement to make. It just emphasizes how important you are. Okay, so now the interesting thing here, you can see that it's a vortex, right? So if I was to put it that way, it'd be a spiral, like a spiral galaxy. And it actually would be that. Okay. So then the Ascendant tool that we make is based on that aspect, right? That we become here and we provide everything that we are. Okay, so you can see that as part of this, right? As part of our ascension here is to get to here. So therefore, while we are here having an experience, we are a representation of every aspect of ourselves, which is that tree. Okay? So let's start from the start though. Right? So we've got a circle here, which is understanding, I guess we could look at that as a singularity, right? And that we come into a world where we're experiencing duality, right? So duality would be the two rings, right? So they are two polarities that make up duality. Now, how do we get here? Through the singularity, okay? And that singularity is the heart, okay? Which is simple math. Singularity plus duality equals neutrality. Okay? Neutrality is balance. This is why the singularity of coming through the heart, why we need to be in the heart, because it facilitates everything we are and everything we need here, right? We don't come through from the mind pathway, even though we are indoctrinated to experience, perceive, and process reality from up here instead away from where we originally come from. Okay, this is the craziness of it all. Okay, this is the conflict that everyone's going through, because we create further duality from here, where if we come from here and we create from here, we turn the unbalanced aspect of duality into balance. And that's the key of the heart. That's the role of the heart. And that's why we're here, right? So that Vesica Piscis in the middle of those two overlapping, that's neutrality. That's balance. Okay? Now this symbology here is also the symbology of conception. Okay? Conception of how we got here to begin with as the soul, right? Which is when the embryo formed the heart, us as the soul, what we authentically are, came through the heart to begin our experience here. So the heart is a portal. It's a portal of a pathway, the pathway of how you got here. Okay? Now, also, we could look at that as the conception of that body. Okay? Which was going to be what people would perceive as the vehicle for our soul while we're here. But really, I like to see it as more as an interface, because our body's not supposed to be housed in the body. It's supposed to access from within the body, but go through and expand its field. And that's how we change things here, through expanding our auric field, which is a facilitation of what we are through the heart, right? But how is a baby conceived, right? The body, right? Two polarities come together, a man and a woman, right? And they come together, right? You get me, right, with that, which creates a state, right? That root 3, that balance between the overlapping polarities of conception. Okay. Also, people can see that as the birth canal, or the uterus, right? Which is the incubating unit of where that baby is formed, right? The interface that then the soul will come through to utilize for a lifetime. Cool, right? Okay, so I kind of look at that as conception, but we can also look at that as the heart, the singularity, coming through to balance out duality, right? Here, right, we've got the triquetra. Now this is connected to, you know how Nikola Tesla goes to 369, right? If you know the 369s, you have the key to the universe. Now I like to see it as 963, okay? Now the 3 is your place of attention, okay? And this is an area that we work on the most for all sorts of things with clients, because of this simple expression will give you an idea. Where attention goes, energy flows, which means it implies that where you place your attention or focus, you invest your creative process, your energy, into your fabric of reality, right? So this is us, right? Singularity. We come through to balance duality through the heart, and a big aspect of how we enable that is also how we expend our energy, right? The heart is a way of getting here, in the way that we then express ourselves into forging the reality we're going to experience, right? Because the reason why we're here to begin with is the soul, is to convert experience, to learn the lesson from the experience so we can convert it into wisdom, which allows ourselves as a consciousness to evolve. That's the whole reason we're here. So the manner in how we're guided to use our attention, which forges our energy to become reality, is so important. Okay? So this is where this one comes in. Now you'll notice as we evolve, right, another circle comes. Now this, for me, is a step-by-step approach to come to here. And as I say, to be a representation of everything we are here, right? So see each circle as an evolvement of bringing not only our full capacity of who we are here, sorry about that, but each variant of ourself that has had experience converted into wisdom from each of these realities, right? It doesn't just get built up here. We become a byproduct of every version of ourselves, and we can facilitate that greater wisdom while we have an experience here. Okay? This is what this evolution, this geometry of evolution means. Cool, right? And of course, we're going to learn more and more as we go along, but so far we're learning some really, really interesting things, right? I played around with it with this, where we put lines through the Vesica Pisces, right? Because as more circles come along, there's more overlapping Vesica Pisces, right? And what I also found, right, was by the time we get to our full evolution, which we could say ascension, right? Because ascension is about bringing everything that you are and showing it here, right? Because ascend is to go up. Now, this, right, you got here through the heart. So all of this is within you, and for it to get here, it has to levitate to get here. It's like how we see spring water, right? Spring water, that water originally comes from an aquifer deep within the earth, and it has to levitate up to the surface to become the spring. Okay? So when we look at this, put the lines through, right? How many can we see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 Vesica Pisces, right? And that's root 3, right? Which is that neutrality. It's how we get through the heart to be here in reality, right? And what do we see here, right? Other than where we are, how many other circles can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, right? Interesting, right? And if we connected those lines together, it would form the hexagon, 6-sided form, which connects into the 369. Right? Interesting, right? So some really interesting things we're getting here. Some of this work, I've been following a man for a long time called Frank Chester, and he was the man that brought the geometry called the Chesterhedron, which he found was the geometry of the heart, especially the left ventricle. And from learning that discovery, he continually learns more and more, and he's actually saying he's got a number of geometries that humanity hasn't even seen yet. And he brought my attention to root 3 in regards to the line, which he calls an interval, which is through the middle of two polarities, right? What we're talking about there is that line through the middle of the vesica. Okay. So go and check out his YouTube channel and what he talks about the heart and a lot of this sort of thing too. But I'm finding a lot of connections, putting dots together in relevance to my path, what I facilitate at Truly Holistic, which is obviously a big aspect of how we forge the session work, the reality coaching session work, but also the products that we make. As I say, the Ascendant is the geometry of the seed of life. That's directly fitting into this whole aspect in the way we're looking at it now. So it's pretty cool. And there's going to be more information coming. This is just the start of things to come. So be excited about that. If you want to book sessions with me, go to my appointment page, trulyholistic.net/appointments/. If you'd like to buy any products, because the Ascendant you can buy by itself in 3 different sizes. We've got a really big one, we've got a middle-sized one, we've got a small one. It also comes with a product which we call the I Am Everything Pyramid, which is interesting because that I Am Everything Pyramid brings through every aspect of you, right? And that's how it also connects into this geometry of evolution as well. So that's on my product store at trulyholistic.net/products/. Until next time, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, push the notification bell. Until next time, catch you later.